factoring practice again. The more you do this, the easier it gets. So keep working on it, keep getting better at it every time. But the first thing you always want to do is check for a common factor. The smallest number is where I go first, in this case 2. And can I divide 2 into the other ones? Yes. So I want to divide them all by 2. They also all have a v, so I'm going to put a v in there. And also the first term, I always want it to be positive. Just makes things easier. So if I want to make this a positive, I'm going to divide by a negative. And that's going to flip it to a positive. So I'm going to put that negative 2v on the outside and the result on the inside. So negative 18 divided by negative 2 is positive 9. The v cubed just decreases by 1 and goes to v squared. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is positive 1. V squared, take away one of the v's, it's just a v. And then 16 divided by negative 2 is negative 8. Those v's cancel out. So that's what I'm left with. Then I go and make the star. And now I'm going to factor the inside. The 2v at the beginning you're going to ignore for now, just drop it down in your answer. But remember, a times c goes on the top, b on the bottom, a on the sides. So you're going to multiply a times c, 9 times negative 8, so negative 72. And then b is 1. There's no number there, so it's a 1. And then a is 9, so 9 goes on the sides. So now you want to multiply to get 72, negative 72, and add to get 1. Now when the top is negative like this, you can really be thinking subtract to get 1. And if you haven't thought about it, haven't found it yet, take negative 72 and start dividing it by numbers. Start small. So start with 2. 72 divided by 2 leaves you with 36. So 2 minus 36, where 36 minus 2 is going to be far from 1. Right, so keep going. 2, 3. 72 divided by 3 gets you to 24. You just keep trying numbers. 24 minus 3 is still not 1. So it's going to need to be bigger. At some point, you can start skipping some numbers. Like 72, that's divided by 6. We'll skip 4 because I know I got a long ways to go. So 6 times 12 is 72. It's just 12 minus 6 is 6. So it's getting closer, right? So I'm headed in the right direction. 72 is not going to divide by 7. 72 divided by 8, though, it's going to be 9. And 9 minus 8 is going to leave us with 1. So there's the pair we're looking for. So 8, 9. Now one of them has to be a negative. The sign on the bottom always matches the bigger number. So the 9 has to be positive, the 8 has to be a negative. So negative 8 times 9 is negative 72, and negative 8 plus 9 is positive 1. So now I have my numbers. Now I just simplify the side fractions. Negative 8 over 9 doesn't reduce, but 9 over 9 reduces down to 1 over 1, or just 1. And now you just are writing your answer. So negative 2v goes in front. And the first parenthesis, remember your fraction gives you your answers. So you have 9v minus 8. Bottom number, and then the top. Then multiply that by the other binomial. So we have 1v plus 1. Bottom number, then the top. And there's your answer. It's factored completely. On this assignment, there will be some that you cannot take a common factor out of, like number 3. If you look at this, 2 is the smallest number there. So I can divide 2 by 2. I cannot divide 9 by 2, right? So there is no common factor. So you just take this and put it right into the star and go about factoring it. Then the other thing that's different about these is the negatives, like we saw in number 1. So when you have a negative a term, you want to factor out the negative. So when you want to divide them all by a negative, so that you make your a term a positive. It's a whole lot easier if you keep your a term a positive. Okay, so let's go ahead and do number 4 here. So 18 is the smallest number, so I can divide that by 18. Then you check, can 18 go into the other two numbers? And it doesn't. So then you check 9. Can I divide them by 9? And nope, that won't work either. The next thing we can divide 18 by is 6. 6 is not going to go into the other ones. So then you want to try 3. And 3 is not going to go into the other one. So it looks like the only thing that's going to work is 2. So if we divide everything by -2, that's going to be our common factor. And then we will factor with the star from there. So -18 divided by -2 is +9. Keep the k squared. And 64 divided by -2 will be -32k. And +32 divided by -2 is going to be -16. And now we can go and plug it into the star. So we're going to multiply 8 times c. 9 times -16. It's going to get us -144. On the bottom, we're going to have -32, and on the bottom side, we have 9. So we need to multiply to get 144, and since 144 is negative, subtract to get 32. So again, take the 144 divided by small numbers to begin with. Okay, so we have 2 times 72, but that's not going to subtract to get us 32. So keep going. Take 144 divided by 3. It's going to get us 48. Now we're getting somewhat close, so don't skip ahead too far. If you want to skip, you could skip a few. But yeah, don't go too far. Because if you divide by 4, you're going to get 36. 36 minus 4 is going to leave us with -2, -32. So those are the right numbers. I just need to make the negatives work. And the sign on the bottom matches the bigger number. So to get a -32, I'm going to make the 36 a negative. So now I just simplify the fractions. 4 over 9 does not simplify, but -36 over 9 does, down to -4 over 1. And now write your answers. So we have 9k plus 4, and then 1k minus 4. Okay, bottom number first, and then the top. So give those a shot. Make sure you show all of your work, and do your best. If you have questions, ask.